Cinema Classics is sponsored by WCBE 90.5 FM, Columbus, Ohio, and is produced by John DeSando and Johnny DiLoretto. Listen to shows online at WCBE.org.
I'm John DeSando.
And I am Jordan Hanhilammi.
And this is Cinema Classics.
Good to be here.
Thank you. It's good to have you here. Now, George, Taika Waititi, what is that? Some kind of a monument or something?
It is a pretty beautiful name. It's a good name. It's a good name for sure. But he is one of the creative geniuses. He's probably, I would assume, be labeled as in Hollywood these days.
So. I think you're right. It's a Maori name, and his mom was Jewish, Irish, Scottish, and English. So this is one really interesting dude.
He is. He's got a really interesting background, and for those not familiar with him, is timely at this point as the director of the new Thor film, and having directed the last two Thor films, Ragnarok and this one, but also well known for being in front of the camera and writing and all kinds of stuff. So yeah, he's a man of many traits.
This is Thor, Love and Death. Oh, no, Love and
Thunder?
And Thunder.
Yes.
Right? Thor, Love and Thunder. And you know, I just couldn't figure that somebody as eccentric as he is would do a blockbuster film like that.
Yeah, and he's he is from a comedy kind of background, and really kind of it seems as not a I wouldn't claim to be a Marvel aficionado by any stretch of the imagination, but from my understanding of just the cinematic universe there in general and stuff, he kind of turned Marvel on its head a little bit by creating Ragnarok as a comedic, very comedic film, and there was always humor in the Marvel stuff, but it really took it to another level with Ragnarok, and in a way that really surprised and pleased and excited people, and was an example of when Marvel's willing to take some chances with some of the stuff they're doing. And
I mean, what was it? So. Kate Blanchett as a as a badass.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, she was for sure. And yeah, they knowing that Chris Hemsworth is got some comedic chops of his own and stuff, and I think the previous movie was followed its title. I think it was like Dark World.
Yeah,
it was a pretty dark movie.
Right. That's right.
And their willingness to really just lean into Taika and to Chris Hemsworth and just to have some real fun with that movie was a big deal and successful. And thus they brought him back for the new one.
And I think you've hit the right note there, Taika Waititi. He really can be known for his comedic take on this stuff.
Yeah, he is. And my personal love for him, appreciation of him came from what has been, I think, about as, kind of, grassroots, word of mouth type of success as the film What We Do in the Shadows, which was
Now tell me about that. Isn't that a TV show?
Well, it was a mockumentary.
Okay.
And he is good friends with the two gentlemen, Brett and Jermaine, that did Flight of the Conchords,
right?
An HBO series, and together they made What We Do in the Shadows. It was a project that they had been wanting to do for quite some time, and so What We Do in the Shadows started as a mockumentary film, and was it was one of my favorite movies of that year, probably about a decade ago,
So it went from movie to series?
Yeah, and just word of mouth just kept going. It wasn't like a huge success by any means in the box office, but people just loved it. And I think it was partly because of, some of the Flight of the Conchords continued love, and then I think some of Taika's success too resulted in them making that into a TV show, which he's a strong part of. And it is one of the great success stories of a movie to television transition, because people keep it's still going. I think they just even renewed it for maybe seasons 4 and 5, and it's different than the movie, but also just as funny.
Is it vampires? What is it?
It is, yeah. It's vampires, and it's kind of like a reality show with vampires. It's like the Kardashians or whatever, something like that, but with vampires, and it's just brilliant. It's super funny. And they do some really good effects in it, and some of it's actually pretty kind of creepy and stuff too, but funny for sure.
And he appears in it.
He does. He directs some, writes some. He's not a star of the show. He's not one of the main.
Okay.
Like he'll pop up within it, but he is very involved. In
Like
the
Thor.
Show. Yeah.
He plays the rock guy, right?
Yeah.
Korg.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so it's not a big role,
Right.
but it's just kind of neat that he is a part of that.
And he's a talented actor. He's not a director that just squeezes himself in for some random bit part or something like that. He's, one of the movies I'm sure we'll talk about is Jojo Rabbit, where he plays Adolf Hitler.
Yes.
In a comedy.
I know.
And dramedy probably for sure, but is a fantastic presence as Adolf Hitler in that. I mean, he has genuine acting chops.
Right, and he looks nothing like Hitler.
No, not much at all. He is actually pretty handsome guy, and to be honest, a bit of a sex symbol to some in Hollywood and stuff. And it's a really interesting niche that he's carved out in Hollywood for himself as that kind of guy.
And we have to say he won the Best Adapted Screenplay.
Oh yes,
for Jojo Rabbit. So he already has an Oscar.
Yeah.
I mean, this is some, and he is an experienced painter, photographer, and fashion designer.
Yeah, just a genuine all-around talent. That just one of those guys that I think we all envy and think we could be, but can't be that talented, but just does where his heart goes, and it's a pretty awesome thing.
He directed one that I know of, and it may be something more out there, but he directed Scarlett Johansson to a nomination in Jojo Rabbit.
Yeah, and she's really great in that, and I think gets some of my favorite work from her in that movie, like that he's able to kind of pull that out of her. I think he taps into some of her best, both comedic and dramatic flair and stuff. So I thought that really showed a lot as him as a director. A movie that people continue to love, The Hunt for the Wilder People.
Oh yes,
is a beloved movie by many, and really something that people probably wouldn't have, I'm sure, didn't expect to be as popular as it is. And so yeah, he does a lot.
I love what he says about this comedic side. He says, I don't want people going to the theater thinking it's going to be a laugh-a-minute comedy like a Will Ferrell film. Isn't that good?
Yeah. It is.
He's not looking for laughs.
Yeah.
He says, well, everything changes once you start trying to market the film. Part of you feels like everything is slipping away from you.
Yeah.
He is actually, need to mention this too, the first indigenous filmmaker to win an Oscar.
Oh wow.
And I think there was another nomination, Buffy St. Marie or something like that from there.
Okay.
Was nominated, so he's one of two nominees, but he's one who won that one, which is really kind of amazing to me. Have you ever seen his Boy, and have you ever seen The Flight of the Conchords?
Flight of the Conchords for sure. Watched all that and loved. Boy, I'm not. I heard him speak on it a bit and his influence from his relationship with his dad. But I haven't seen it. Have you seen that one?
No, no. Both of those I'm vacant on, and I'm so much interested in listening to what you had to say about what we do with the shadows.
Yeah, we can talk more in our extended version a little bit about his about Flight of the Conchords and what we do with the shadows and some of the relationship stuff with those guys, because I think they're a huge comedic presence in the movie industry today.
Yeah. Now, I understand that he's very good friends with Chris Hemsworth.
Oh, really? I didn't know.
They are
cool
buddies.
That's fun.
And so they hang out a lot, and I think it tells us more about him, who your friends are, and that Hemsworth seems like a stand-up guy to me.
Yeah, there is that, again, he taps into that comedic side of Chris Hemsworth that I think we saw in some great parts with like the Ghostbusters, the female version of Ghostbusters, and some stuff where he really has a really funny side to him that's great, and it was really awesome to see Taika utilize that in
Yeah,
the movies.
yeah.
And
I mean,
capitalize on it.
I think you alluded to this previously, is that Taika really was responsible for loosening up Chris for this comedic, to bring this comedic, that Ranker,
Yeah.
I think best did that, and just took him right out, so that now Chris is almost going over the top with the comedy.
Right.
Really, but with those quips,
Yeah.
and as opposed to developing character, but I mean, come on, what am I asking? Or to develop.
Well, it's interesting because it is again I'm not a hardcore Marvel guy, but
Yeah,
I've
yeah.
seen a decent amount of them, and that comedic influence stuff. They're still, I feel like, trying to walk some of that boundary with it, because like for me, I thought the first, I think it definitely Guardians of the Galaxy has tapped into that too, and I thought the first one was funny in all the right ways, emotional in the right ways, and
Good.
for me the second one was over the top and didn't work. Like it was too much comedy. They didn't, trust stuff. And I from the stuff I've seen from Taika and the way that he controls some of that comedy things, I think he walks a nice balance.
Yes, yeah,
with it.
yeah. So Jordan Hanhilammi, we're talking about Taika Waititi, and what movie would you suggest our audience see first if they don't know Taika's work? What would be a good place to start?
Man, that's a good question. It might be Hunt for the Wilder People. Some star power with Sam Neill, a nice balance of comedy and heart, and that. But I mean, I think everybody should see Jojo Rabbit. I mean, that's
I know.
if you're going to definitely stick around and see some more of his movies, then maybe
Yes.
start with Hunt. But if you're only going to see one, see Jojo Rabbit.
I think JoJo
Yeah.
expresses his eccentric side.